Ken Phillips is the Executive Director of Self-Employed Australia, and for the last 12 months he's waged a battle against the Andrews government to face criminal charges surrounding deaths in Victoria's workplaces. Now, Self-Employed Australia last year applied to WorkSafe Victoria to investigate those deaths, and the move seems to form part of a long series of problems around workplace safety for the Andrews government. Today, Ken is coming in to talk about yesterday's developments where the Department of Health and Human Services has been charged with 54 breaches of the Workplace Safety Act. Morning, Ken.
Good morning to you.
Yesterday's developments, were they a long time coming, in your opinion?
Grossly overdue. These should have been laid a long time ago. It is, however, a step in the right direction by the department, by the government or WorkSafe. We congratulate them on finally taking this step. It is a clear recognition that the campaign that we have been running for well over 12 months is true and correct, that what we have been doing and what we have been arguing has been completely valid. But of course, what we allege goes far beyond just one department. It goes to the people who ran the department, the cabinet itself, so on and so forth. But this is a very significant and important step. So it lays down the principle, at least the principle, that there are charges to be laid and they must be pursued, and is a clear expression by WorkSafe that they consider in bringing the charges that there are breaches of the Act. In other words, the government itself, the Department of WorkSafe is saying the Department of Health, has breached the Work Safety Act. So that is a huge step. Up to date, they have been avoiding anything around that, but it's only the first small step and there's a long way to go.
Now, Ken, in your experience, 54 breaches, it's a significant breach, isn't it?
Well, the whole debacle and mess at the hotel quarantine was described by Coate in her inquiry, in her report. She described it as a catastrophe waiting to happen and a disaster that came to be. They're her quotes. So yes, this is huge. You know, we've got to keep bringing ourselves back to the fact and reminding ourselves that this is the largest deaths in Australia's history from any single industrial incident. And the government is still not treating this with the seriousness which it is. Now, so a long way to go.
Ken, how confident are you? We seem to have the fox guarding the hen house here. Now, I think I've read that they're exposed to $94 million in penalties, but what happens is we have the government take money from a government department, give it to the government for doing wrong. How does that work?
Well, I think we can adequately describe this as the government playing a game of legal yo-yo. You throw it down and it comes back up. You throw it down and it comes back up. So, and everyone's jumped onto that, the stupidity of it from that angle. Everyone has been alerted to and understand that this is, from that angle, from the angle of the fines, a complete joke. But underpinning that joke is the fact that the recognition from WorkSafe that there have been very, very serious breaches of the work safety laws.
And as far as the Coates inquiry went, where everyone developed a sudden case of amnesia, the chances of anyone actually being held to account through this entire matter, where they've gone, right, 54 breaches, wrongdoing, but gee, we can't remember who was actually driving, you know, who was captaining the ship at the time. How do we progress past that, the government's inability to hold themselves to account?
Well, you have to remember that breaches of the work safety laws, that the breaches occur both for what you do and what you fail to do. So in a rather odd way, the declaration by all the people in the government in the Kate inquiry that they can't remember is almost in a strange sort of way an admission of guilt, because what they're really saying is, I didn't do anything. Now, these were the people who were responsible for doing things. These are the people who were responsible to make sure that the work safety procedures, that the quarantine procedures were followed properly, that the systems were in place, that the management systems were in place. These were the people who were responsible for ensuring that those safety management systems were in place. Now, given the Kate inquiry report, she makes it quite clear that there was managerial chaos starting at the very top. And when I say the very top, I mean the very top. And for people who were at the very top, making those decisions to say, I can't remember, means that they were turning a blind eye, not involved in, not part of, ensuring that the management systems created a safe environment. So under the Work Safety Act, you are prosecuted and you breach the Act, both for what you do and what you fail to do. So their admissions of failure to do what they should have done is almost an admission of guilt. I certainly don't go that far, say it's almost, but it's certainly in itself enormous evidence to extend the prosecutions just beyond the department.
It would almost seem the textbook definition of negligence, wouldn't it, Ken?
Well, under the work safety laws, remember these are indictable criminal offences. So this is pretty serious stuff. As I say, there's still a long way to go. I've been seeing commentary saying that the government has checkmated the game and that there's nowhere to turn, that they've created a whitewash situation. Well, I think people who say that are misreading the situation quite badly. You'd have to remember that we started this campaign over 12 months ago, and we've essentially been running a campaign in which very large numbers of people have been looking at us for all that period of time saying, oh, it'll go nowhere, it can't go anywhere, you can't beat this government at its own game. And I think the events of yesterday proved everyone wrong.
How confident?
And
sorry, Ken.
So what's happening now? It's the same people who are saying you can't win. The same people have been saying that for over 12 months, now saying it again, even after having a great win. But this is a football game. There's just been a huge goal kicked in the direction of justice for the people of Victoria. But the football game's not over.
Andrews and Sutton seem to be continually mired in controversy around this. Do you think it will actually make an impact on them?
I'm not going to predict the impact on them or what they think or what they might do or not do. What I can say is that we stick by the 140 plus charges that we allege and that we alleged 12 months ago. And those 140 charges that we allege embrace both the Premier and Sutton and lots of others. And we stand by those. We have not shifted our position or our view one bit.
So what's next for Self-Employed Australia? Ken, what's your next move and what should we look out for?
Well, if my media advisors are correct, watch Channel 9 News tonight and you'll see our ads. So our campaign has not stopped. It's winding up. Radio, TV, billboards. Remember, primarily, this is a community campaign. And once the people of Victoria start to really tweak that there's something serious here and start to get their head around the detail of this. It's when you start off, it's reasonably complicated to get your head around it. But in actual fact, the issues are really very, very simple. And once people on a large scale start to understand the simplicity of these issues and the integral part that these issues play in the rule of law and justice in Victoria, that's where we wind up making a difference. Because if we're going to be thwarted through the courts, well, it's the people who then make the decision.
All right, Ken Phillips on The Informer, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much again. And I've got to say thank you to you, because the likes of yourselves who've been covering the issue for a long period of time, you're critical to the success.
Thanks, Ken.
A democracy is nothing without a free media. So I've got to say congratulations to yourselves and thanks for your ongoing support.
Thanks so much, Ken. It's a really important issue.
Great.